Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast today. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today we are going to be talking about deception in the food and supplement industry. I get a lot of questions all the time about the importance of supplementation. Can we get everything through our diet today without using supplements? To how do I choose good supplements? To what's wrong with the food industry? And there's still a lot of not educated people, and I don't mean that to sound mean, about the deception in supplements in the food industry. And, I want to share with you a little bit of my experience, what has really attracted me to the nutrition industry, been in it for over 25 years, why I chose to retire once. And then to launch my own company with Candace and I, and some of the things that we strive to do better than other companies, and really what pushes me to make sure I'm offering the best quality ingredients into the marketplace, and what really drives me. And I want to share with you a little bit of my background, a few stories that has happened to me to really open my eyes to the agriculture industry. And first and foremost, I will say this: I still love the agriculture industry. And this podcast is definitely not a blast on farmers. Farmers had to evolve. They had to figure out a way not to just grow 100 bushel corn because the tractors cost more, the combines cost more, but how to raise 150 bushel to the acre corn, and how to grow 175 bushels to the acres of corn. And so this is not a push on the farmers of thinking that they've made wrong decisions. They have a business that they need to run as well, and they had to evolve or there wasn't farming anymore. But I want to share with you some details of what's really shook up our food industry, and to also let you know the importance of supplements. And it's important for you to choose the right supplements. I mean, let's face it, we've been lied to today in the supplements that we take, in the foods that we eat. My youngest son just got home, brought some chips home from a friend's house. And I said, Beckett, what are you eating? And he said, veggie chips. And I said, okay, does it have vegetables in it? He was, I assume it does. It's got a picture of vegetables on the bag. And I looked at the labels, and I don't want to waste this whole podcast, but sunflower oil, I mean, guys, the seed oils today in young adults is not good for their testosterone levels. So many different issues. I'm actually reading a book called Dark Calories right now. It's something I recommend, bringing some knowledge to what we've done in society with all the seed oils that we consume. But this is the point that I'm trying to make here: is we've been lied to about our labels because it's all about marketing. It's all about following the profit. It's all about, if I put a veggie thing on here, mom's going to think that these chips have got veggies in them. And that's not the truth. It was a marketing plea to be able to profit from selling a lot of chips. So I'm going to share with you some things. Now, I'm going to talk about the company CorVive that I own, the nutrition company my wife and I have owned for 7 years. I don't care if you don't want to buy our products. I think we put the best products in the marketplace. I'd usually never talk about CorVive on this podcast. I'll mention it a few times. Not that I'm afraid to. It's just my podcast was really purposefully driven for me to offer a valuable way for middle-aged men, for middle-aged women, for people trying to find through the struggles of life. And so, but today I feel like it's important because of so many questions, and because for me, it's a way to get off my mind of why I am doing what I'm doing. Why did I retire, come back and start my own company? Is because I chose to definitely take my knowledge, my experiences, and say, I can do this better than the competition. And I can provide transparency. I can provide honesty. I can definitely educate people of why CorVive does things the way they do, why we choose USA ingredients, why we choose the farms in the United States to source different ingredients, and what goes into this process. So let's get started here.
Let's go. What up?
Many food supplement companies, like I mentioned, it's moved into more profit over quality. And most companies' products are filled with fillers, artificial ingredients, misleading claims, and again, it's all chasing that profit. Now, as far as the agriculture side and the crisis we are in, that my personal experience here, I graduated from Oklahoma State University with a degree in agriculture, soil sciences, and agronomy. So my job was to study the soil, study the plants. What can I learn from why it's important to grow crops in fertile soil? What the benefits from that food source is when crops are grown in that fertile soil. And that was what I did. And I'm going to tell you guys, my dad taught me a lot. My dad was a very educated man, made like a 34 on his ACT, went to Oklahoma State University, worked for University of Arkansas before he went to take over my grandma and grandpa's farm after he passed away from cancer. My dad took over that farm, bought my grandma out for she wouldn't have a lot of debt and farm. So I'm actually the third generation farmer, and I've been around agriculture all my life. And so it's still to this day something that I'm passionate about, and really what fueled me to understanding the supplement industry as agriculture has moved away again from not just producing quality, but the farmers had to evolve and produce quantity, and or they're not going to be around. So I want to share with you one of my biggest eye-opening experiences. I'm going through college. I'm understanding in the labs, the companies that are paying the university to do research on developing this seed to produce more per acre, the development on the seed to be able to, fight off pests, to fight off the herbicides and the pesticides for it won't damage the crop, all these different things. But to me, in my mind, I'm just thinking that this is science. And it really, I had such a passion and love for agriculture at the time that I really didn't think about this being a problem in the food industry. I just thought, well, this is science. This is a way for farmers to produce more per acre. That way they can make more money. That way they can buy the more expensive tractors, more expensive combines, more expensive land, all that type of thing. But coming out of college, I wanted to start myself. I wanted to not just work for my dad, I wanted to own a farm. I bought my first farm in Muldrow, Oklahoma. And that excitement, I just got through getting married to Candace, but that excitement was so hard for me to try to explain to you today. Thinking, man, I grew up with an intelligent dad that taught me how to work hard, taught me about agriculture. This is my passion. I went to Oklahoma State University. I learned a lot. And now I get to take everything I learned and I get to provide good quality crops to nourish families. That was something that I was excited about. I mean, you put me on a tractor and turn that soil over, and it excited me. Planting that seed excited me. Watching that seed grow and me nourish that seed all the way to harvest was something that was just going to be a fulfillment of mine, a dream that I had to be able to watch that whole process and to feel like I now get to see not only the process from start to finish, but I get to enjoy that experience of that fruit from my labor and know that what I'm producing is bringing good to the population. And, I was so excited about it. But the story I wanted to share with you, my first spinach crop, I actually, seeked out a way to try to make more profits. My dad was traditionally, he did grow some vegetables, but at this time in his life, he had pretty much moved away from vegetables and he was moving mainly into corn, soybeans, and wheat. And I wanted to be able to try to grow some vegetables. So I had a contract with a baby food company. And my first experience was a spinach crop. And I was so excited about that. And I was so excited that, I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't wait to plant this crop. I planted this crop. I'm nurturing this crop. I actually had a pivot system that was an irrigation system. I installed a 5,000 gallon tank to be able to give a little small amounts of nutrients to this plant, grew, I'm talking the most beautiful field of spinach you ever saw. And I was so proud of that. And in 12 hours before harvest, I see a plane coming over dumping pesticides. And almost like, I'm like, they have to have the wrong field. I don't know. I didn't call the plane. I didn't request this. What is going on? So I called the company I have a contract with, and they said, no concern, not going to cost you anything. We want to make sure there's no bugs in the leaves of the spinach. So we're dumping a pesticide on it, and no big deal. There'll be no bugs tomorrow when we do the harvest. And I've never been caught off guard more than my life, thinking this is a pesticide 12 hours before it's going to go into a baby jar to what I thought was going to nourish babies. And that was the first time that I really started to see, how the modern agriculture has evolved into, it's all about getting the quantity. It's all about making the leaf look pretty. It's all about making sure there's no little aphid bug, which is a little bitty tiny bug in a baby jar that you probably couldn't see anyway. And we're going to jeopardize that with hoping we get the residuals from this herbicide off this spinach leaf. And again, the reason that shook me up is because my passion was to nourish. My passion was to grow something that I could be proud of. And this incident exposed me to the widespread use of harmful chemicals in agriculture. And it was a defining moment for me. And then I started understanding, getting more into the practices of knowing why 100 years ago, our soil was so rich in organic matter and nutrients due to the traditional farming methods that the grandfathers had taught us other ones about rotation, crop rotation, about using manure. The reason that manure is so important is manure has like 60 different trace minerals and your phosphorus and your potash and your nitrogen, all these different things to give that root system everything it needs to be able to grow a quality crop that then now is our food source. Where at the time when I was farming, the only recommendation was phosphorus, potash, and nitrogen. It's so crazy that I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, well, what about these other minerals that we need to replenish with this? And why would I want to grow corn on the same spot over and over, or spinach on the same spot over and over? Why would I not want to rotate that crop? That way I don't have the same weeds that now herbicides are going to have to try to kill those weeds in that crop. Why can't I just, and for example, those of you who don't know a lot about farming, corn, one of the most competitive weeds in corn is a weed that's a grass also that looks like corn called Johnson grass. Well, back in the day, you couldn't kill Johnson grass in a cornfield because that Johnson grass was the same grass species as the corn, which is a grass species. That's the reason they planted a broadleaf the next crop, and then they would try to kill the grass out of the broadleafs, whether it be a soybean crop or whatever that situation may be, and then they would keep rotating. But our society moved the agriculture into monocropping and what makes the most profits, which basically then depleted our soil health. And we had a must have in the synthetic fertilizers and the pesticides and the herbicides that we're using, which basically means this. If none of you are farming individuals, don't understand. It led to a deficiency in essential minerals, our magnesium, our calcium, our zinc, and I can go on, which basically will weaken your immunity, disrupt gut health, and increase disease risk. So when I was going through this, I'm like, man, we are going to have a problem. And again, I was young, fresh out of college, but that really pushed me to study. It really pushed me to understand the need for supplementation and to fill in those nutrition gaps that we are not getting through our food system, today. And that's what really drove me for the passion of nutrition. And I could share with you so many different stories, but one of the things that I started this company CorVive that really meant a lot to me. And I told Candace, I told my corporate team when we launched, I said, CorVive, our solution here is to always provide transparency and quality. And I'm going to found CorVive based on the truth and educate people of what it means to be committed to high quality ingredients. Ingredients that's sourced from sustainable farms that do things the right way with soil health, traceability. That's why our organic sugar cane that we put in our hydrate. We only use, family source farms that do everything the right way, from, soil nutrients to making sure that they're not using a heavy pesticide or herbicide, all the way to where we source our dairy for our grass-fed whey protein in Wisconsin. They cannot supplement their cattle. The cattle's got to be on grass-fed. It's important for me to know, based on all these experiences, that we do everything the right way, knowing that it matters what we put in our body. And that's why we wanted to do third-party testing on every one of our product claims. That's why we do all of our C of A's, certificate of analysis, on every ingredient to make sure it don't have large amounts of mercury or anything bad in the ingredients. That's why it's so important for me making sure all the label claims are done correctly. And other experiences that I had with the company I was with, that right before I retired, I was the top producer in that company. And I had this hunch that our protein product had sucralose in it. On the label, it said it didn't. And I sent it into a third-party company, and to my surprise, guess what? It had sucralose in it. I felt like I was misled, not only myself, but I felt bad about misleading customers and consumers that I was out talking about this product. So with CorVive, we wanted to make sure that transparency was there, from our labels to everything. And that's what led me into this commitment of integrity to make a real impact in people. So, I could go on and on about stories of what's brought me to this journey. But I want to let you guys know that here with CorVive, it's something that drives me every day to make sure that we put together the best source ingredients, the best quality, and we're transparent with you for every part of the process. And that way you feel comfortable knowing when you choose the brand, you're choosing a brand that's doing things the right way. Not because I'm trying to make a little bit more money, because of my experiences, what drove me to this passion of letting you know that it's not just about choosing good supplementation. It's also about choosing good fuel source, which is your good quality foods, through your diet plan that you're eating every day, getting rid of the processed sugars, getting rid of the products, the chips that's in your pantry, getting rid of the sodas. Understand, God put food here, not for us to take and want to go sit on the couch and watch Netflix and fall asleep. That's what happens when you eat 3 cookies. But you eat 8 ounces of grass-fed beef, and you give yourself about 30 minutes, and I guarantee you're going to want to go to the gym. Your palms of your hands are going to be sweaty. God designed food as a fuel source. Is there a need for supplementation? There's a large need. Why is that? It's because it's filling in the nutrition gaps that we don't get through our food today. Do we still need to strive to get the best quality food, to understand that we're going to choose, even if it's a tomato at the farmer's market that's got a bunch of holes on it from aphids and it maybe looks ugly? Choose that one. Don't choose the one at the marketplace that was just grown in a greenhouse that you don't know what conditions or what soil environment that it grew up in to see if it put any good minerals in that tomato. It's all about you understanding this process of, in order for you to live a long, healthy life, there's a need for good food quality. There's a need for good quality supplementation, but you need to know what to look for, understand to read labels, and to understand that you need to trust a company that is going to put out the best ingredients, treat you with respect, absolutely, but share with you the transparency every step of the way of what makes a good product and a company you can trust on. Whether you buy my company's products or not, you need to definitely look for these things. The third-party certification, ask them for their C of A's. Look and see, are they sourcing from the United States to know where something comes from? Are they trying to support, the local farms and choosing the farms that want to do the things the right way? And if you do that, you're going to have a bigger understanding, but you're going to learn to use your food source as a fuel instead of looking at food as a way to just feel good. So thank you guys for choosing the Hard Truth podcast. And my commitment to you is not only am I still going to try to deliver the best I can do on this podcast from a leadership standpoint. We are excited to have, 3 new guests on these next 3 episodes. One of them, a young lady that her testimony is definitely going to make you get emotional through her hardship times and what she's done to overcome them, to a doctor friend of mine that we're going to be talking about men's health and women's health here coming up, to another guy that's extremely fit that I'm excited about for you to learn more about, the fitness and what you need to do to elevate that game. But I'll share with you this is something that really excites me to know that we are doing the right things here at CorVive. From time to time, I've got an opportunity here at CorVive to build relationships with some of these customers that use our products. And this is something that really fuels me today, is reading this testimony. A friend of mine played for the Kansas City Royals for a lot of years, and he used my products while he was playing for the Royals, and then he played for the Angels a little bit. And I asked him, I said, hey, I was looking for a testimony to be able to use on our Instagram page. Do you mind sending one? He sent one over. And in this testimony, he said, not only did your products help me perform at the highest level in Major League Baseball and kept me hydrated, kept me with the right protein that I need, easy way to grab it, tastes great. But he said the most important thing to me about the CorVive brand is knowing that not only is it good enough to fuel a Major League Baseball player, it's safe enough for my kids. And when I read that testimony, I'm just like, that's what we are trying to accomplish here at CorVive. We're trying to give people that confidence, that reassurance that we are doing things the right way. That yes, not only is the product going to help you perform at the highest level, but you know that Hunter's 6-year-old boy can drink the protein shake in the morning, drink the hydrate throughout the afternoon, and his other kids, instead of using sodas or Fruit Loops for breakfast, that if it's good enough for him, that's important. But more importantly, it's good enough for his family. So thank you guys for choosing the Hard Truth podcast. Share this with a friend or a family member. And I can tell you that we are on a mission here at CorVive, not just about selling products. It's about restoring trust in nutrition and wellness. You can trust here at CorVive the integrity, and we're leading a movement here for truth in the industry. And the mission is for us to rewrite the story of nutrition with honesty, transparency, and excellence. Thank you guys.
Let's go.